Good afternoon. Whoop. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second day doubleheader matinee show of Anne of Green Gables. Our upper school players have been working for a number of months to bring the show today to us. I have a few announcements to help the show go well from their perspective and our own. First of all, due to an agreement with the publisher, we request no flash photography. Please silence your phones or devices out of respect for the performers. We do have in the nursery behind the auditorium there, a live stream going so that if you need to slip out with a young one, you won't miss anything there. Keep the aisles clear if you would, because that extends our stage. We'll have some movement of the players down through there. Please hold your applause until the end of each act so that we can move the scenes along. At the end of Act 1, there will be a 15-minute intermission, and I'll have more announcements about that when the time comes. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Please enjoy the show.
Whoa. Oh, well, hello, Moody. Is your father here?
No, sir, Mr. Cuthbert. He left me to close up.
Will the 5:30 train from Charlottetown be along soon?
That was the 6 o'clock that just left. There was a passenger dropped off for you at the 5:30.
Ah.
She's waiting up there on the bench.
She?
Yes, sir. There's more scope for imagination here.
I'm not expecting a girl. It's a boy I've come for.
There must be some mistake then. Mrs. Spencer came off that train. the train with that girl and said you and your sister would be along to get her presently.
But
I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert. She's the only orphan we've got.
I don't understand. Is there...
My dad's calling me. I gotta close up.
Oh.
Maybe you should talk to her.
Oh.
I suppose you're Mr. Matthew Cuthbert of Green Gables. I'm very glad to see you. I was beginning to think you weren't coming, and I started to imagine all the things that could have prevented you. I made up my mind that if you couldn't come for me tonight, I would stay all night in that big wild cherry tree down the track. I wouldn't be a bit afraid.
Sorry I was late. The buggy is just over here. Give me your bag.
Oh, I can carry it. It isn't heavy. I've got all my worldly goods in it, but it isn't heavy. Mrs. Spencer says it was an 8-mile drive. Mrs. Spencer said probably Miss Cuthbert would come with you.
Marilla's back home getting things ready for the...
Oh, Mr. Cuthbert, I'm so glad I'm going to live with you and your sister and belong to you. I've never belonged to anybody. Not really, as long as I can remember. Mrs. Spencer said it was wicked of me to talk like that. It's so easy to be wicked without knowing it, isn't it? There's so little scope for imagination in an asylum. I used to lie awake at night and imagine. I suppose that's why I'm so thin. I am dreadful thin, ain't I? There isn't a pick on my bones. But I do love to imagine. I'm nice and plump, with dimples on my elbows. Oh, Prince Edward Island is the bloomiest place. I'm so glad I'm going to live here. But those red roads are funny. I asked Mrs. Spencer what made the roads red, and she said she didn't know, and for pity's sake not to ask her any more questions. But how are you going to find out about things if you don't ask questions? And what does make the roads red?
Well, no, I don't know. I never thought about it.
Isn't it just splendid to think of all the things there are to find out about? But am I talking too much? People are always telling me I do. Would you rather I didn't talk? I can't stop when I make my mind up to do it. Although it is hard.
No, well, you can talk as much as you like. I don't mind.
Oh, I'm so glad. I just know you and I are going to get along just fine. Just now, I feel pretty near perfectly happy. I can't feel exactly perfectly happy because, what color would you call this?
Well, it's red, ain't it?
Yes, it's red. Now you see why I can't be exactly perfectly happy. Nobody could who has red hair. And I can imagine away the other things, the green eyes, my freckles, and my skinniness, but I cannot imagine away that red hair. It will be my lifelong sorrow. Oh, Mr. Cuthbert! 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 What is this place?
What do you mean?
This white place.
Now, you must mean the avenue. Crazy fella planted all these apple trees along the road years ago. It is kind of a pretty place, though.
Pretty? Oh, beautiful doesn't even go far enough. It's wonderful! Wonderful! It's the first thing that I've seen that couldn't be improved upon by imagination. It just satisfies me here. The avenue. No, I shall always call it the White Way of Delight. I've never had a home. At least not one that I can remember. Oh, isn't that pretty?
That's Barry's pond.
Oh, I don't like that name either. I shall always call it, let me see. Oh, the Lake of Shining Waters. When I hit on a name that's exactly it, gives me a thrill. Do things ever give you a thrill?
Well, now, yes. It always kind of gives me a thrill like that to see them ugly white grubs that spade up in the cucumber beds. Oh, I hate the look of them.
Oh, I don't think that can exactly be the same kind of thrill. Why do other people call it Barry's Pond?
I reckon because Mr. Barry lives up in that house.
Oh, does Mr. Barry have any little girls? Well, not so very little. About my size.
He's got one about 12. Her name is Diana.
Oh, what a perfectly lovely name.
Oh, I don't know.
Goodbye, dear Lake of Shining Waters.
We're almost near home now. That's Green Gables
Oh,
over.
don't tell me. Let me guess. I'm sure I'll guess right. That's it, isn't it?
Well, now, you've guessed it.
Just as soon as I saw it, it felt like home.
Whoa. Well, here we are.
Matthew Cuthbert, who's that? Where's the boy?
There wasn't any boy. There was only her.
Well, this is a pretty piece of business.
You don't want me. You don't want me because I'm not a boy. Oh, I should have known. Nobody ever did want me.
Well, there's no need to cry about it.
Yes, there is need. This is the most tragical thing that's ever happened to me.
Well, don't cry anymore. We're not going to turn you out of doors tonight. Not until we've settled this affair. What's your name?
Well, could you please call me Cordelia?
Call you Cordelia. Is that your name?
No.
If Cordelia isn't your name, then what is?
Anne Shirley. Oh, but would you please call me Cordelia? It won't matter much to you since I'm not going to be here very long.
Fiddlesticks. Anne is a plain, good, sensible name.
If you have to call me Anne, can you please call me Anne spelled with an E?
I don't see what difference it makes how it's spelled.
Oh, it makes such a difference. It looks so much nicer. If you won't call me Cordelia, please call me Anne spelled with an E.
All right, then. Anne with an E. Can you tell me how this mistake happened? Were there no boys at the asylum?
Oh, yes. But Mrs. Spencer said distinctly you wanted a girl about 12 years old. I couldn't sleep last night for joy. Oh, why didn't you leave me at the station? If I hadn't seen the white wave of delight in the Lake of Shining Waters, it wouldn't be so hard.
What is she talking about?
Well, just some conversation we had on the road.
If I was very beautiful and had nut brown hair, would you keep me?
No. We want a boy to help Matthew on the farm. Now take off your hat and sit down to tea.
Oh, I can't eat anything. I'm in the depths of despair.
What in the world?
A lump comes right up your throat, and you can't swallow anything. Not even if it was a chocolate caramel.
A what?
I had a chocolate caramel once 2 years ago, and it was simply delicious. I hope you won't be offended because I can't eat. Everything smells nice.
I guess she's tired. Best put her to bed.
Yes, but where? The spare room is not for... Come along, then. The East Gable room is clean. I suppose you have a nightgown?
Mm-hmm.
Undress quick as you can and get to bed.
I will.
Good night.
How can you call it a good night when you know it must be the very worst night I've ever had?
Well, this is a pretty kettle of fish. One of us will have to drive over to Mrs. Spencer's tomorrow and sort this whole affair out. This is what comes of sending word and not going ourselves.
I suppose so.
You suppose so. Don't you know it?
Well, now, it's kind of a pity to send her back when she's so bent on staying here.
Matthew Cuthbert, you don't mean you think we ought to keep her?
Well, no, you can hardly be expected to keep her.
I don't think so.
We might be some good to her.
Matthew Cuthbert, I believe that girl has bewitched you. I can see plain as plain that you want to keep her.
She could be some comfort and companionship for you.
I'm not suffering for companionship, thank you. It's you who needs the help, not me.
I can hire a French boy to help me.
I'm not going to keep her. Where are you going? Matthew! What? Aren't you going to drink your tea? Matthew! Ugh. Washed those dishes right enough, I'll give you that.
Thank you. The world doesn't seem such a howling wilderness as it did last night. I'm glad it's not rainy today, because it's so much easier to be cheerful and bear up under affliction on a sunshiny day. But I do like real mornings real well, too.
You talk entirely too much for a little girl. Sit down. I suppose I can have the mare and buggy this afternoon. Don't you have any piecework to do? Or mending? Idle hands. Now, since you're obviously bent on talking, you might as well tell me about yourself.
Oh, well, could I please tell you what I imagine about myself?
No, just stick to the bald facts. How old are you and where were you born?
Well, I was 12 in March, and I was born in Bolingbroke, Nova Scotia. My parents were Walter and Bertha Shirley, and they're both teachers at the Bolingbroke High School. Aren't Walter and Bertha lovely names?
I suppose it doesn't matter what a person's name is as long as he behaves himself.
Well, I don't know. I read in books once that a rose by any other name wouldn't smell as sweet, but, well, when my mother married my father, she gave up teaching, of course. And Mrs. Thomas, she cleaned for them sometimes, said my parents were as poor as church mice, and I was the homeliest baby she ever saw. But my parents thought I was perfectly beautiful. My mother died just when I was 3 months old from fever. I do wish she'd lived long enough for me to remember calling her mother. Well, 4 days afterwards, Father died from fever too. That's when I finally became an orphan and nobody knew what to do with me. Then Mrs. Thomas, the scrub woman, said she'd take me. So I lived with her and her drunken husband until I was 8 years old. And as soon as I could walk, I started helping take care of children. There were 4 of them younger than me, and I can tell you, they took a lot of looking after. Then Mr. Thomas died by falling under a train, so Mrs. Hammond from up the river said she'd take me, seeing how I got to be so handy with children. Mrs. Hammond had 8 children, and I like babies in moderation, but twins 3 times in succession is too much. I told her so firmly when the last pair came.
I should think so.
So I lived with Mrs. Hammond and her husband for 4 years until Mr. Hammond died. That's when I went to the asylum until Mrs. Spencer came.
Those women, Mrs. Thomas and Mrs. Hammond, were they kind to you?
Oh, I feel sure they were meant to be good to me. Oh, isn't that pretty?
What?
That big cherry tree. I saw a corner of her from my window. I've named her the Snow Queen. She's radiantly lovely. She blooms as if she really meant it.
Are we back in time to milk the cows?
Little Jerry Block from down the creek was here this morning. I told him I'd hire him for the summer.
How far is it to Mrs. Spencer's place, please?
About 10 miles, I'd guess.
Good. I don't want to get there. Somehow it will feel like the end of everything.
Come along.
sorry, Miss Cuthbert, and of course I'm dreadful sorry about the mistake. Richard's daughter Nancy is a terrible flighty thing, and she said particularly that you wanted a girl. But that doesn't mean you have to give her back. Mrs. Peter Blewett was complaining this morning about how what she really needs is a girl like Anne to help her. And she has such a large family, you know, and she keeps losing the girls she has to help.
Peter Blewett's wife, I wouldn't give a dog I liked to that woman.
Yes, I don't much fancy her style myself, but it's either that or keep her ourselves.
Yes. Well,
I saw you prowling the lane as I drove up, beaming like an idiot when you saw she was still with me. I must say, I've been thinking about it.
and?
And nothing. I said I've been thinking.
Huh.
Oh, Miss Cuthbert, did I really hear you say you might let me stay at Green Gables?
Yes, you heard me say just that. We might decide to let Mrs. Blewett take you. It's obvious she needs the help. Now, Anne, last night you threw your clothes all over the floor. I haven't any use for a little girl who isn't neat and clean.
I was so hard up in my mind last night. I'll be sure to fold them nicely tonight.
You'll have to remember a little better if we do decide to keep you. You may say your prayers now.
I never say prayers.
Why, Anne, what a terrible, wicked thing. I'm afraid God must think you are a very bad little girl.
Well, it's easier to be bad than good if you had red hair.
Anne,
What must I say?
kneel down.
Why must people kneel down to pray? If I really wanted to pray, I'd go up into a great big field and look up into that big blue sky.
Anne,
What must I say?
now I lay me down to... No, you're old enough to pray for yourself. Just thank God for what he's given you and humbly ask him for things you want.
All right, I'll try my best. Gracious Heavenly Father, I thank thee for the white way of delight and the lake of shining waters and the snow queen. I am truly extremely grateful for them. As for the things I want, it would take me a great deal to name them all. So only name the two most important. Please, please let me stay at Green Gables. And please let me be good looking when I grow up. Yours respectfully, Anne Shirley. There, did I do all right?
It's enough for now. Go to bed now. And mind you hang up those clothes.
Oh, I just remembered. I should have said amen, not yours respectfully. Do you suppose it'll make a difference?
I don't suppose it will. Good night, Anne. Matthew Cuthbert, it's about time somebody adopted that child. She's next door to a perfect heathen. I dare say it's some kind of duty, and I'll make a fair mess of it. But an old maid knows more than an old bachelor does about raising a child. Mind you, don't go interfering. There'll be time enough for you to put your oar in when I'm done.
Please, Miss Cuthbert.
Suppose I might as well tell you. Matthew and I have decided to keep you. You needn't fly up into the air so.
Oh, I'm crying. I'm so happy. I can't think why. Why am I crying?
I suppose it's because you're all worked up. Best sit down and try to calm yourself.
What am I to call you? I love to call you Aunt Marilla. It would make me feel as if I really belonged to you.
No, you'll call me just plain Marilla.
Well, we can imagine you were my aunt.
I couldn't.
Oh, don't you ever imagine things are different from what they really are?
No.
Oh, Marilla, how much you miss.
When the Lord puts you in certain circumstances, he doesn't mean for you to imagine them away. Now, Anne, this is the Lord's Prayer. You're to commit it to your memory today. There'll be no more such prayers as I heard last night.
Oh, I've heard this at the Asylum Sunday School. Thank you for making me learn this, Miss Marilla.
Just learn it now.
Marilla, do you think I'll ever have a bosom friend in Avonlea?
A what kind of friend?
A bosom friend. A really kindred spirit whom you can confide your inmost soul in. I've dreamed of meeting her all my life.
Well, there's Diana Barry. She's about your age. But you'll have to behave yourself. Mrs. Barry won't let Diana play with any little girl who isn't nice and kind.
Oh. What's Diana like? Is she pretty? She doesn't have red hair, does she?
I can see that you can't hold your tongue while there's someone to listen to you. Now, go upstairs and learn that prayer.
For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. There, I know this prayer. Now I can imagine. This is a couch all heaped up with gorgeous silken cushions, and I am reclining gracefully on it. I can see my reflection in that great big mirror. My name is Lady Cordelia Fitzgerald. My skin is ivory, and my hair is black as midnight. No, it isn't. I can't make that seem real. You're only Anne of Green Gables, but it's so much better to be Anne of Green Gables than Anne of Nowhere in particular. Oh, that must be Diana's house. Hello, Diana. I hope you'll be my bosom friend. Hello, I'm Anne of Green Gables.
Well, Marilla, I'll just tell you plain. I think it's a mighty foolish thing you're doing. A risky thing, that's what.
I will admit I've had some qualms myself.
Couldn't you have just sent her back?
Well, she's a real bright little thing, and Matthew took such a liking to her. The house seems such a different place already.
It's a great responsibility you've taken on yourself, Marilla, and with no experience with children. But I don't want to discourage you, I'm sure, Marilla.
I'm not feeling very discouraged. I suppose you didn't come here just to see me. Anne?
Yes, Marilla?
Well, I didn't pick you for your looks. She's terrible skinny, Marilla. Come here, child. Let me have a look at you. Lawful heart, did you ever see such freckles and hair as red as carrots? Come here, child, I say.
I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! I call me skinny and ugly? How dare you say I'm freckled and redheaded? You are a rude, impolite, unfeeling woman.
Anne!
How would you like to have such things said about you? How would you like to be told that you're fat and clumsy and have no spark of imagination in you?
Did anyone ever see such a temper?
Anne, go up to your room this minute and wait till I come up.
Well, I don't envy your job bringing that up, Marilla.
You shouldn't have twitted about her looks, Rachel.
Marilla Cuthbert, you don't need to say...
No. She'll have to be punished, but we must make some allowances. She's never been taught what is right.
Well, I see that I'll have to be very careful about what I say after this, Marilla, since the fine feelings of orphans brought from goodness knows where have to be considered before anything else. If you'll take my advice, which I don't suppose you'll do, you will give her that talking to with a fair-sized birch switch.
That was a fine exhibition of yourself. I don't say Mrs. Lynde was exactly in the right, but you shouldn't have said the things you did. You were rude and saucy, and she was a friend and a guest. And you will go to her and ask her to forgive you for your bad temper.
Oh, I can never do that. You can punish me in any way you like. You can shut me up in a dark, damp dungeon inhabited by snakes and toads and feed me only on bread and water, but I will not ask Mrs. Lynde to forgive me.
I'm not in the habit of shutting people up in dark, damp dungeons, but apologize to her you will.
Well, I'll never apologize to Mrs. Lynde.
You have the night to think of your conduct and come to a better frame of mind.
I shall have to stay here forever then.
Don't you have some, I don't know.
I'm going to take food up to her.
All right, I'll be back.
Where are you going?
Marilla,
Well?
I'm really sorry for the things I said, and I'm willing to tell Mrs. Lynde so.
Right. We'll go over right now then.
Oh, could we just wait 5 minutes?
Whatever for.
I'm imagining out what I must say to Mrs. Lynde.
No, we're going right now.
Yes?
Anne has something to tell you.
Very well. Well,
Oh, Mrs. Lynde, I'm so sorry for the things I said to you. I've disgraced the true friends, Marilla and Matthew, who have let me stay at Green Gables, even though I'm not a boy. I should have flown into a temper because you told me the truth. My hair is red and I am skinny and ugly. But the things that I said about you were true too, but I shouldn't have said it. Oh, Mrs. Lynde, please forgive me. If you don't, it'll be a terrible sorrow on a poor orphan girl.
There. Get up, child. Of course I forgive you. I guess it can't be denied that your hair is a terrible red. But I knew a red-headed girl once whose hair darkened to a real handsome auburn when she grew up. I wouldn't be a mite surprised if yours did too. Not a mite.
Oh, Mrs. Lynde, you have given me hope.
And go wait in the lane.
No, Marilla. She's a real odd little thing, to be sure. But she may turn out all right now that she's come to live among civilized folks. On the whole, I kind of like her.
I apologize pretty well, didn't I?
I hope you won't have many more occasions to make such apologies.
It gives you a lovely, comfortable feeling to apologize and know you're forgiven. Aren't the stars bright tonight? If you could live in a star, which one would you choose? I would choose that bright one above the hill.
Come along now. Hold your tongue. Well, do you like them?
What I'll do is I'll imagine that I like them.
I don't want you to imagine it. What's wrong with them?
They're not pretty.
I don't believe in pampering Vanity Ann, and I'll tell you that straight off.
Well, I'm so grateful for them, but I'd be so much gratefuler if you could make one, just one, with puffed sleeves.
I hadn't any material to waste on puffed sleeves. Here you are. Now, I have some news for you. Diana Barry came home this afternoon, and I'm going up to Mrs. Barry's to see if I can borrow a skirt pattern. If you'd like, you could come along with me and get acquainted. Heavens, if the child's actually trembling.
Oh, Marilla, you'd be trembling too if you knew you were going to meet a girl who you hope to be your bosom friend, and you said her mother might not like me.
Oh, Anne, let's go. Just don't make any of those startling speeches of yours.
Good afternoon, Marilla. How do you do?
Well, thank you.
And this is the little girl you've adopted, I suppose?
Yes, this is Anne Shirley.
Spelled with an E.
How are you?
I am well in body, although considerably rumpled up in spirit. Thank you, ma'am. There wasn't anything startling in that, was there?
And this is my daughter, Diana. Diana, you might go ahead and show Anne your flower garden. It's better for you than straining your eyes over that book of yours. Come in, Marilla. She reads far too much, and I can't prevent her, for her father aids and abets her.
I don't know why Mother is always complaining about me reading books. I like stories, don't you, Anne? Anyway, here's the flower garden. Mother does most of it, but I get to do this little patch myself. See? The daffodils were already here, and the peonies. But I put in all the sweet clover and the bleeding hearts and...
Oh, Diana, do you think you can like me a little? Enough to be my bosom friend?
Well, I think so. It'll be jolly to have someone to play with.
Will you swear to be my friend forever and ever?
I don't know. It's dreadfully wicked to swear.
Oh, no, not my kind of swearing. There's really two different kinds, you know.
I've never heard but of one kind.
There really is another. It just means vowing and promising solemnly.
Well, I guess I don't mind doing that. How do you do it?
We must join hands. So, it'd have to be over running water. We'll just imagine this path is running water. I'll repeat the oath first. I swear to be faithful to my bosom friend, Diana Barry, as long as the sun and the moon shall endure. There, now you say it and put my name in it.
Oh, no, just, all right. I swear to be faithful to my bosom friend, Anne
Shirley.
as long as,
As long as the sun and the moon shall endure.
as long as the sun and moon shall endure.
There!
There. You are an odd girl, Anne, but I don't care. I think I'm going to like you real well.
We need the blue skirt with this too. What's your knee telling you?
Should be fine for at least a day or two.
Anne,
Oh, Marilla, there's going to be a Sunday school picnic tomorrow, and there's going to be ice cream. Think of it, ice cream. Oh, Marilla, can I go?
Anne, have you seen anything of my amethyst brooch?
I saw it just for a minute. I went to look at it.
Did you touch it?
Yes, I pinned it on just for a minute just to see how it would look.
You had no business to do anything of the sort. Where did you put it?
I put it right back on the bureau.
Well, it isn't there.
I'm perfectly certain I put it back.
By your own admission, you were the last person to touch it. You've taken it or something. Now, where is it?
I put it back, and that's the truth. I was led to the block for it, although I'm not quite sure what a block is.
Anne, I believe you're telling me a falsehood. Go to your room.
But the picnic is tomorrow.
Picnics? There'll be no picnics, nor any other such events until you've confessed.
Oh, Marilla.
You're sure it hasn't fallen down behind the bureau?
What do you think? I've looked behind the bureau. I've taken out the drawers. I've looked in every crack and cranny. She's gone and taken it and lied about it.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
What am I going to do about it? She'll stay in her room until she's ready to confess.
Well, now, you'll have to do that.
Where are you going?
I have no business with her. You warned me off yourself.
What? Matthew, where are you going?
Taking my oar outside here. Today?
Not yet. I haven't seen her since this morning.
Are you taking anything up to her?
Yes, I'm not in the habit of starving people into confessions.
Huh.
Well?
I'm ready to confess. I did take your amethyst brooch, just as you said. And I know I shouldn't have, but I was overled by an irresistible temptation. It was so much easier to imagine to be Lady Cordelia Fitzgerald with a real amethyst brooch on. Then I went to go show Diana, and when we were looking over the lake, the clasp came undone, and it went down, 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 into the lake of shining waters. And that's the best I can do at confessing.
Anne, this is a terrible, awful thing you've done.
I know, and I know I have to be punished immediately. So get it over with quickly. I have to get to the picnic.
Picnics? You'll go to no picnics. That will be your punishment.
Oh, Marilla!
Going over to Rachel Lynde's, where maybe I can hear a useful piece of advice. Dear life and heart, what is this?
Huh?
Why, I do remember yesterday, I laid my shawl on the bureau for a moment. What on earth did that girl mean by saying she took this and lost it? Anne Shirley, come down here this minute. Anne, I just found my amethyst brooch hanging to the lace of my shawl.
Oh, Marilla!
What was that rigmarole you just told me?
Well, you said I'd be kept upstairs until I confessed, so I thought about a really interesting confession last night, and I said it over and over again so that I wouldn't forget it. But then you wouldn't let me go to the picnic.
Yes, she seems to be getting along just fine. Though I don't know how she'd hold her tongue through a whole day of school.
Seems to be real popular.
Oh, yes. Ruby Gillis gave me an apple, and Sarah Gillis gave me her bead ring to wear all day. Oh, and we had scrumptious fun at lunchtime.
Scrumptious.
Yes. Oh, and Jane Andrews told me that Minnie McPherson heard her tell Sarah Gillis that I have a pretty nose.
And so she does, if you don't count all the freckles.
It troubles her some how far behind the others she is. She's in the 4th book, and they're all in the 5th, you know.
Well, she won't be alone for long. Gilbert Blythe will be back soon.
Gilbert Blythe? Isn't he near 14? He's in the 4th book too?
He didn't go to school while he was out in Alberta with his father.
That's right. John was sick for a time. Oh, what's this?
I'm never going back to that school again.
What is it that happened?
I'm never going back to Mr. Phillips' school again, ever.
Nonsense.
Don't you understand? I've been insulted.
You'll go to school tomorrow just as usual.
Oh no, I'm not going back. I'll learn my lessons here and try to hold my tongue and be good all the time. But I am not going back to that school. I assure you.
And what was it that happened?
That Gilbert Blythe. Oh, I can't talk about it now. I can't see anybody. I have
Matthew,
to.
perhaps we better not.
Oh, good. Here's some of the girls. Maybe.
Can we see Anne?
I'm afraid she doesn't want to talk to anyone just now.
I told you.
What happened, girls?
It was Gilbert.
Gilbert Blythe.
It was his first day back
He'd been away all summer,
at his cousin's in New Brunswick.
and this was his first day back.
I just said that.
Oh.
Here, look. That's Gilbert Blythe.
Moody. Just take a look at him and see if you don't think he's handsome.
He teases us girls something terrible.
He just torments our lives out. Didn't somebody write his name up with? Yes, there. Gilbert Blythe was Julia Bell.
Diana, Gilbert's back.
Morning, Moody. Gilbert.
Diana Barry, you little crow.
Gilbert's back.
Gilbert, how's your summer?
Oh, all right, I guess. It was New Brunswick. Dan Andrews, you little squirrel.
I should have introduced you.
Oh. Diana.
Morning.
Well, it won't be so easy to stay head of the class now, Anne.
What? Have Gilbert in your class after this. He's ever so smart, I told you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think your Gilbert Blythe is handsome, Diana, but I think he's very bold.
Yes, but what is it that happened?
Anne was spelling champion in 4th class, and Gilbert was trying to take his crown.
Anne couldn't spell epitome.
But Gilbert couldn't either.
I never even heard of it.
So Mr. Phillips called them ties. He told them they'd both be moving into our class soon.
Then Mr. Phillips told us to work on our math problems silently while he did some special work with the Queen's Academy scholars at the back.
Meaning some love poetry for Prissy.
Jane.
Well, Mr. Phillips starts droning this old poem. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?
And Gilbert started to torment us again.
Anne.
Garrett. You mean hateful boy. How dare you!
Then Mr. Phillips made Anne go up to the board and he wrote, Anne Shirley has a very bad temper.
He spelled it without the E, Marilla.
And he made her put on the dunce cap.
Then Gilbert raised his hand and said it was his fault because he teased Anne.
Then Mr. Phillips made him go up besides Anne and he wrote on the board, Gilbert Blythe must tease his lady friends more discreetly.
And he made Gilbert stand right next to Anne because there was only one cap.
And they had to share it.
And they had to hold hands because there was only one cap and they had to share it.
I just said that.
Oh.
And Anne wouldn't.
And he made her.
Then he wrote a plus sign between their names on the board and said,
Now, as the two of you have commanded the attention of the entire school, we have no choice but to take notice.
Well, I guess she's at head of the class now.
It was awful.
You should have seen her face, Marilla. It was actually white with little red spots.
Oh,
Mercy.
Then it was time. We all started to pick up our things and leave.
And look here. I'm awful sorry I made fun of your hair. I only meant it as a joke. Don't be mad for keeps now. Anne?
Oh, Anne, how could you?
I shall never forgive Gilbert Blythe.
Gilbert makes fun of all the girls. You heard him call me a crow before school.
I don't care. Mr. Phillips and Gilbert Blythe have hurt my feelings excruciatingly.
We forgot the... Oh, why are you taking all those things home?
I'm never going to school to that man again.
Oh, Anne. She wouldn't even let me walk home with her.
Thank you, Diana. Anne will come see you when she's ready. Thank you, girls.
Well,
Well, what would you advise, Rachel?
since you've asked, Marilla, I'll tell you. I'd just humor her.
Rachel!
It's my belief that Mr. Phillips was in the wrong. Of course, it doesn't do to say so in front of the children.
No.
I won't say the word school to her again until she's said it herself. She'll cool off in a week and be ready to go back. But if you were to make her go back right off, do you know what tantrum she'd throw?
I suppose you're right, Rachel.
Of course I am.
Yes, and she said we could use the second best tea service.
Yeah, when will she be back?
Not till late. She's left me in charge of everything.
Well, it's awfully nice of her to let you invite me to tea.
Yes, Marilla is a very generous woman. She said we could have fruitcake and cherry preserves for tea. And she said we could have raspberry cordial to drink. I just love bright red drinks, don't you?
Yes.
No, wait here.
What?
Just wait here. Now, knock.
What?
Knock.
Oh.
Why, Diana Barry, do come in. Here, let me take that. How very nice of you to come for tea. How is your mother?
You were just at our house. You just saw her.
Diana!
Oh, she's very well, thank you. And Marilla?
Oh, Marilla's in excellent health. Thank you, Diana.
I suppose Mr. Cuthbert is hauling in potatoes for this afternoon's ship, is he?
Yes, our potato crop is very good this year. I hope your father's crop is good too.
It's fairly well, thank you.
Now, Diana, if you'll please try one of these cookies, I'll bring the cordial.
Thank you, Anne.
Oh!
What's the matter?
Marilla said that the cordial was on the second shelf of the pantry, and I can't find... Oh. Here it is. It was way back on the top shelf. Now, Diana, please help yourself. I'll set our tea to draw.
Thank you. Ooh, that's awfully nice raspberry cordial. I didn't think raspberry cordial was so nice.
Well, I'm so glad you like it. Take all you want.
Well, it's so good. And I'm awful thirsty.
This is the nicest raspberry cordial I've ever drank. It's a famous cook. She's trying to teach me how to cook, but I assure you, Diana, it is uphill work.
Oh, Anne, I do wish you'd come back to school. I have to sit next to Josie Pye now, and she drives me crazy with all of her wiggling and her squeaking her chalk on her slate. Maybe I'll have just one more. Are you sure you don't want any?
No, thank you. Take all you want.
Last week, Ruby Gillis trimmed all her warts away.
She didn't.
She did. True as you live, with a magic pebble that old Mary Jo from the creek gave her. And Charlie Sloane's name was written up with N. White's, and N. White was awful mad about it.
I imagine so.
Gilbert Blythe is head of the 4th class now. Mr. Phillips says that he says...
Diana, I don't want to hear anything about that person.
Oh, Anne. Here, let me help you with that.
Oh, no, thank you. Oh, Diana, what is the matter?
Oh, Anne, I'm awful sick. I must go home right now.
You mustn't dream of going home without your tea. It's all ready. I'll pour it right this very minute.
No, I must go home.
Let me get you something to eat. That'll make you feel better.
No, I must go home. I must go home. I must go home.
All right, Diana. I'll take you home. Where do you feel bad?
Oh, Anne. I'm awful dizzy.
Oh, I've never heard of company going home without their tea.
Did Rachel Lynn give you the quilting pattern?
Oh!
Whatever's the matter?
Mrs. Barry said I sent Diana drunk Saturday, and Mrs. Barry is in an awful state.
Sent Diana home drunk? Whatever did you give her?
All I gave her was raspberry cordial. I never thought raspberry cordial could set anyone drunk, even if they did drink 3 tumblerfuls.
Oh, no.
What?
You didn't give Diana raspberry cordial. You gave her red currant wine.
I thought it was the cordial.
I can't see it as it was your fault. I think Mrs. Barry'd rather punish Diana for being so greedy as to drink 3 glassfuls of anything.
Mrs. Barry will never believe that I did it on purpose.
Oh, come now. She'll see it wasn't your fault when you go after her.
Well, could you come with me? I'd feel so much better if you came with me. She's more likely to listen to you than me.
Well, I will. And don't cry. It'll be all right. Of all the unreasonable women, she's the worst. Come along.
Anne! Diana! Oh, Anne. I've cried and cried. I told her it wasn't your fault, but she wouldn't listen. She's only given me 1 minute. She's already turned over the timer.
1 minute isn't very long for an eternal farewell.
No.
Oh, Diana, I know you'll have other friends after this, but will you?
I'll never have another bosom friend, Anne. And I'll never love anybody as much as I love you.
Oh, Diana, do you love me?
Why, of course I do. Didn't you know that?
Well, I knew you liked me, of course, but I never thought anybody could love me. Nobody ever has. Wilt thou give me a lock of her jet black hair and tresses in parting forever?
Surely. Have you got anything to cut it with?
Yes, I've got Patrick's scissors.
Diana!
Oh,
Farewell, my friend.
goodbye forever, Anne.
It's all over. I'll never have another friend again. Diana gave me a lock of her hair. I'm going to put it in a little bag. Make sure it is buried with me, for I don't think I'm going to live very long. Maybe Mrs. Barry will let Diana come to my funeral.
I don't think there's any worry of you dying as soon as long as you can talk.
Matthew, did you ever study geometry?
No, I didn't.
I wish you had. It's perfectly awful stuff. I can't make head or tail of it. And some of the others are so good at it.
Well, I don't know. Teddy Phillips told me last week that you was the smartest student in school. Said he'd only moved you and Gilbert up to the 5th class, and you were already fighting to be top of that class now.
Well, but there's so many new subjects now. We're studying agriculture, and I've actually found out at last what makes the roads red. It's the iron in the sandstone.
Well, now.
It's a great comfort. We're studying government, too. And we started early, Mr. Phillips says, because of the big premier making his visit to Charlottetown. Oh, I wonder how Marilla and Mrs. Lynde are enjoying themselves at the rally. Mrs. Lynde said Canada is going to the dogs, and if women were allowed to vote, we would soon see a blessed change.
Well.
Ruby Gillis says that when a man is courting, he must always agree with her mother in religion and her father in politics. Is that true?
I don't know.
Ruby Gillis says when she grows up, she's going to have ever so many bows on her string and have them all crazy about her. But I think that would be too exciting. I'd rather have just one, and I'd rather he'd be in his right mind.
Well.
I think that there are a great many things in this world that I don't understand very well.
Well, I don't know as I comprehend them all myself.
Anne!
Diana, what is the matter?
Oh, Anne, Minnie Mae's awful sick. She's got croup. And young Mary Jo says her mother and father are away for the rally, and there's no one to call for the doctor. And oh, Anne, I'm so scared.
Don't worry, Diana. Matthew's gone to harness the mare to go to Carmody.
But Dr. Blair isn't in Carmody. He's gone downtown. I suppose Dr. Spencer would have gone too. Young Mary Jo has never seen anybody with croup before, and Mrs. Lynde is away. Oh, Anne.
Don't worry, Diana. I know exactly what to do for croup. Taking care of 3 twins, and you naturally get a lot of experience. I'll get the Ipecac bottle. You may not have any at your house. Matthew.
Eh?
Spencerville.
Aye.
I gave her every last drop of the Ipecac bottle, and when the last drop went down, I said to myself, not to Diana, of course, this is my last lingering hope, and 'tis a vain one. And then she started to feel better right away. You probably could imagine my relief, because it can't be expressed in words. Oh, you know there are some things that can't be expressed in words.
Yes. You know, Anne, the doctor said it wouldn't have been too late by the time he got there.
He did?
Aye, you saved that baby's life, he said.
I'm real sorry now that I was ever cross with Mrs. Hammond for having twins. But, oh, Matthew, I'm so sleepy.
Don't worry, I've got you.
I just know I can't go to school tomorrow. I just couldn't get my eyes opened. But others would get ahead, and I don't know what I'd do.
Well, I guess you'll manage all right with that. Let's get you to bed now and get you a good sleep. Save that baby's life.
Good morning, Marilla.
Good afternoon, Anne.
Oh, what time is it?
Nearly 1.
Oh, is Matthew asleep?
He's about done out. He did all your chores this morning. He's been telling me about last night. Your dinner's here on the table. I must say, I've never seen a case of croup myself. I'm glad you knew what to do. There now, I can tell you're full up with speeches, but they'll keep. Mrs. Barry came by this morning. She said she'd like you to forgive her and be good friends with Diane again. You can go there after you finish your food.
Oh, Marilla, can I go right now, this afternoon?
Why, certainly, after you finish your... Anne, come back here. Finish your food. At least put a hat on. Oh, you're awake, are you? Look at her. It's like calling to the wind, tearing through the orchard, her hair streaming out behind her.
Anne, hooray!
Hopefully they can't hear me.
We'll now have a 15-minute intermission. The gallery will be open, so you can see the visual arts that have been prepared over the year. The concessions will also be open. It's behind the auditorium. There's an entrance and an exit. Again, there are stickers and custom cookies for sale as well. There are restrooms on this main level as well as upstairs. And we'll reconvene in 15 minutes.
Look at them dancing around like ninnies out there. Fairy queen, fiddlesticks.
Seems to like this new one, eh? This lady teacher.
Oh, I just love Miss Stacy. When she says my name, I know she spells it with an E. And oh, Marilla, she has the most beautiful dresses in all of Avonlea. Oh, and her puff sleeves.
Puff sleeves?
Miss Stacy's got them traipsing about the woods for field days, reciting and so on. Rachel Lynn says it's a great waste of time.
Puff sleeves?
Oh, hush. And now this concert foolishness.
There's something different about her.
What?
Our Anne. There's something different from them others. And what is it?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm sure I don't know. You tell me when you find out.
Something in her look. And it's not just her red hair. I don't know what. Oh no.
What? What, Matthew?
They're coming in, all of them.
No, Josie. No. I don't see why.
It has to be Ruby or Jane.
Why?
Because.
Hello, Matthew. Hello, Marilla.
Girls.
Hello, Mr. Cuthbert. Hello, Marilla. Why can't I? Because it's ridiculous, Josie. You don't look like a fairy queen. You don't look like a fairy at all.
Well, Anne's one of the attendants. A red-headed fairy is just as ridiculous as a skinny fairy.
Your dye will this too.
Oh, yes. That'll be perfect.
Oh, good. Let's go try it again.
Come on.
We'll tie some white roses in your hair.
What?
Those others, they have colors and things.
What, Matthew?
Marilla, our Anne's brighter than all of them. Why do you dress her in things like a mouse?
What do you mean?
Puff sleeves.
Matthew, well, you're the last person I'd expect to find looking through ribbons and thimbles.
Oh, Rachel.
Matthew,
Yes?
what is it you're wanting to buy?
Oh,
Maybe I could help you.
well, that is, I'm trying to find...
Yes?
A dress, that is.
A dress?
Yes.
A dress.
For Anne.
For Anne!
Yes,
A dress for Anne.
that's it.
You'd like me to help you pick out goods for a dress for Anne?
That's it in a nutshell.
Well, I will.
Thank you. Thank you.
Matthew,
Yes?
have you something particular in mind?
Oh,
No? I'll just go by my own judgment then. I believe a nice blue Gloria would just suit Anne. When do you think you need it?
I was thinking Christmas.
Oh, that wasn't that nice. Perhaps you'd like me to make it up for her, too.
Well, now, yes, I would. Are you sure it's not too much?
It isn't. It isn't a mite of trouble. I like sewing.
And I don't know, but I think they make the sleeves different than what they used to. If it's not too much, I'd like them made in the new way.
Puffs, of course. You needn't worry a speck more about it, Matthew. I'll make it up in the very latest fashion.
Well, thank you, Rachel. Thank you very much.
Evening, Matthew. Well, it'll be a real satisfaction to see that poor child wearing something decent for once.
And to think of Matthew taking notice of it.
That man is waking up after being asleep for over 60 years.
You look so smart, too, in your new dress. Didn't she, Marilla?
Humph.
It was so lucky of you to think of that right before the Christmas concert, Matthew.
Yes, thank you again, Matthew.
Oh, well, now.
Marilla, you haven't said anything yet about the concert. Did you like it?
Oh, it was all right, I suppose, as those things go.
Oh, Diana, I'd feel so much better if you could stay out here with me just for a minute before you leave.
All right. Such foolishness. You'll catch your death of cold, both of you.
Marilla.
It's been a brilliant evening, hasn't it?
Yes.
Did I do all right?
Oh, yes. Your solo is perfectly elegant. But do you think I did all right, do you think?
Oh, yes. Your recitations just brought down the house.
I was so nervous. Did I groan all right?
Oh, yes, you groaned lovely.
Really?
Really.
It truly has been a memorable occasion.
I guess our Anne did as well as any of them.
Yes, she's a bright child. And she did look nice in that dress you got her.
Yes. I guess Anne will need something more than Avonlea School by and by.
Yes. I suppose the best thing we can do for her will be to send her to Queen's to get her teacher's certificate.
Queen's?
It's a while yet.
Yes.
It's been a romantic evening, hasn't it?
Yes.
I'm very proud of Anne, though I'm not going to tell her so.
Why?
Well, it's very well for us to be proud of her, but she's proud enough as it is.
Wasn't the boys' dialogue fine?
Oh, yes.
Gilbert Blythe was just splendid. I do think it's awful mean the way you treat Gil. Wait till I tell you. When you ran off the stage after the fairy dialogue, one of the roses fell out of your hair. I saw Gil pick it up and put it in his breast pocket. Oh, Anne, you ought to be proud of that. You're so romantic.
It's nothing to me what that person does. I don't waste a thought on him.
Oh, Anne.
You're turning blue, both of you. Anne, come in this minute and let poor Diana run on home.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Marilla. Good night, Matthew.
Good night, Anne.
Anne? Your Miss Stacy said you were the bright particular star. Those were her words. We both thought you did very good tonight, and we were both very proud of you.
Thank you, Matthew. Really does look dead.
Ew, yes.
It's making me a little frightened.
Me too.
Do you suppose it's really all right to act like this? Mrs. Lynde says that all play acting is abominably wicked.
Ruby, you really shouldn't talk about Mrs. Lynde. This is hundreds of years before Mrs. Lynde was born.
Jane, you arranged this. It's silly for Elaine to be talking when she's dead.
All right, Anne. Elaine, come on, girls. Coverlet of gold. One white lily. Now she's all ready. We must kiss her quiet brows. Anne, smile a little. Elaine lay as though she smiled. That's good. Go on, girls. Your speeches?
Farewell, sister. Sweet sister, farewell.
Now push the flat off. And then we run down to meet it as the Camelot people.
What was that? The boat hit something, I think. Is Anne all right?
Ruby, run up the bank and look.
Anne! Anne!
Shh, Diana, she doesn't want to be called Anne just now.
I know, but is she... Ruby, can you see her?
Oh, no!
What?
The boat! Oh, my!
Ruby,
What,
come down
Ruby?
for us.
Oh, no! It's leaking! The boat is leaking!
Oh, she's fainted! Anne!
Oh, she's fainted. Ruby, get up.
She's on shore. Worry about her later. Anne! Anne, the boat's leaking!
It's sinking.
Anne!
She's not getting up. You run down the bank to where the boat drifts up. I'll get Ruby and see if we can get some help.
All right. Anne!
Got your hat. Thanks.
Ooh, wait. Down in the funeral barge and it started to leak.
Why?
We were playing Elaine
Elaine?
from the Idols of the King, Tennyson.
Ah.
I'm very much obliged to you.
And look here. Can't we be friends? I'm awful sorry I made fun of your hair. I only meant it as a joke. I didn't mean to make you mad. I think your hair is awful pretty. Honest, I do. Come on, let's be friends.
I will never be friends with you, Gilbert Blythe, and I don't ever want to be.
Oh, all right. I'll never ask to be friends with you again, Anne Shirley. And I don't care either.
I'm here, Diana. Oh, Anne. We thought you were drowned. Ruby was in hysterics. We sent her for Matthew and Marilla. Oh, Anne, how did you escape? I climbed up on one of the bridge piles. But how did you get here? And Gilbert Blythe came along and rowed me to land.
Oh, how perfectly splendid of him.
Oh, it's so romantic.
Yes.
Of course you'll speak to him after this.
Of course I will not. And I never want to hear the word romantic again, Jane Andrews.
Marilla, here, she's here.
She's all right. She held on to the bridge.
Anne.
Gilbert Blythe came along and rowed her to shore.
I'm all right, Marilla. I was scared for a while, but I'm all right. Matthew.
What were you thinking?
Oh, I think I learned a very valuable lesson today.
I don't quite see how.
Well, every mistake I make helps cure some problem in me, and this one today has cured me of being too romantic.
I see.
I'm pretty sure you're going to see a much more sensible Anne from now on.
Well, I certainly hope so. Come along, Diana. Girls, we'll drive you home.
Don't give up all your romance, Anne. A little of it is a good thing. Not too much, of course, but keep a little of it.
Matthew.
Anne,
Oh, I've had a perfectly splendid time. Charlottetown was so big. And Diana said Mrs. Barry's house was rich, but her house was just so beautiful. And we got to stay in the spare room, just as Mrs. Barry said. And the fair, there were thousands of people there. I've never seen anything so interesting. And then that day, and then the morning after, we went for a drive in the park. And then, that evening, we went to a concert at the Academy of Music. It was just so beautiful. It was beyond description. And I told Miss Barry I couldn't see how I could ever return to common life again. And Miss Barry pretty much laughed at anything I said, even when I said the most solemn things.
Oh, did she?
Yes, and she said I could come back any time.
well now.
Thank you so much for letting me go. I've had a perfectly splendid time.
Sounds as if you had.
But the best of it all was the coming home.
Aye. Never seen her in such a state.
Thank you, Matthew. I can speak for myself.
I was only...
I see what you were only doing. And you, go get your things from the hall before somebody trips over them. Then come back downstairs and help me for supper.
Why won't you tell the girl how you feel about her?
I suppose it's because you're so ready to do it for me. I don't do that. I pat and talk and tell each other how you feel. Sometimes I think it's almost sinful to set your heart so on another creature. Anne?
Yes, Marilla?
Miss Stacy came while you were gone. She's organizing an after-school class for the advanced students. What do you think? Would you like to join them and pass for a teacher at Queen's?
Oh, I'd love to be a teacher, but won't it be too expensive?
When we took you in to bring you up, we knew we'd have to give you a good education. You may join them if you like.
Oh, Marilla, thank you. I'll study as hard as I can and do my best to be a credit to you, though I warn you not to expect much in geometry.
Miss Stacy says you're diligent. You'll do well enough if you work hard.
Well now, she said more than that.
What?
Oh, hush now. Go up to your room and study, and finish putting away your things.
I could do the...
No. Go rest now. You start school tomorrow.
July 1867. Gilbert?
Confederation, Miss Stacy. British North American Act creates the Dominion of Canada.
Correct. 27th April 1813. Anne?
Second American invasion of Canada, Miss Stacy.
Yes. Which battle? Gilbert?
American troops attack our capital city at Toronto.
Then known as York, Miss Stacy.
Right. 25th March 1807. Anyone besides Anne and Gilbert? Josie?
First American invasion?
I'm afraid not, Josie. 25th March 1807. Gilbert?
Abolition of slavery in the American colonies in Canada.
Right. 13th November 1775. Anne?
First American invasion of Canada, Miss Stacy. Capture Montreal.
1st September 1864. Gilbert?
Beginning of the
Confederation Conference, Miss Stacy, held in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island.
Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you, Anne. You two have certainly put on a fine display for our final class together. This year, that is. And next year will be a hard pull, you know, the last year before the entrance exam. Now's your chance to get out there and play. You all deserve a good, jolly vacation.
Thank you, Miss Stacy.
Have a wonderful summer. I'm not even going to look at a school book all summer.
I think I'm going to lock mine away in a chest in the attic. Oh, Anne. I'm serious. I might even hide the key.
What's so amusing over here?
Oh, it's Anne.
She's been telling us.
I see. I was wondering if you girls might enjoy some company part of the way home.
Sure you can, Gilbert.
That'd be nice, I guess.
Let's see, I've got one arm for each. How convenient.
Yes, the doctor told him to avoid excitement, and that's easy enough. But he also said not to do any hard work. And you know Matthew, he might as well not breathe as not work.
Good evening, Mrs. Lind.
Anne, well, I'll leave you, Marilla. Evening, Anne.
What did Mrs. Lind want?
I missed the Aid Society yesterday on account of Matthew's bad spell with his heart. And you know Rachel.
Oh, yes.
Had to find out what it was.
Yes.
So, the entrance exams are in 2 months.
Yes. It haunts me. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and wonder what I'll do if I don't pass.
Why, go again next year and try again.
Oh, I don't think I'd have the heart for it. Especially if the others pass. Well, Ruby and Jane are studying to be teachers. That is the height of their ambition. And Josie's just going to college for education's sake because she won't have to make her own living. Moody is studying to be a minister. The thought of it just makes me laugh. Perhaps he'll be more intellectual looking when he grows up.
What is Gilbert Blythe going to be?
I don't know what Gilbert Blythe's ambition is, if he has any. Does it hurt am I talking too much? Does it hurt your head today?
No, it's better now. These headaches are coming more often. I'll have to see a doctor about them. But I don't mind your chatter. You don't talk as much as you used to, nor use half as many big words. What has come over you?
I don't know. I just don't want to talk as much now. I'm going to go to my room.
I'll call you when dinner's ready. Oh, I was just thinking about next year. Hannah's got to be such a big girl, and she'll probably be away from us next winter. I'll be ever so lonely.
Well, now, the branch railroad from Carmody will be built by then. She'll come home to visit often.
Yes, but it won't be the same. There now, men can't understand these things.
Huh.
All the girls say that they know they didn't pass, except for Josie, of course. And Ruby was in hysterics.
Oh dear.
Oh, she hasn't posted it yet. Mrs. McDonald said she'd post it at once. Yes, Ruby found a terrible mistake in her English paper, and Moody knows he flunked history.
How did...
What?
Oh, never mind.
Oh.
You know you did well, though.
I think I did all right. I just want to make it to the top 10, that's all.
You mean you want to beat Gilbert?
No, Diana, that's not just it. Matthew is sure I can beat the whole town, as he says, so I just have to pass high, for his sake.
Well, all right.
Oh, Diana, I'd feel so much better if you could stay with me until the paper comes.
Well, I have to go meet my father. I'll come back and stay with you if I can.
All right, please try.
Do you want to ride home with us?
No, Matthew and Marilla made a stop at Abbey Bank. I'll meet them there.
All right. Well, here are some of the girls anyway, so you won't be alone. Good luck, everyone.
Thanks, Diana.
Not in yet?
No. I'm glad you two are here while we wait for the paper. I don't want to wait here alone.
You certainly won't have to do that.
Well, of course, there's no telling if it'll even come in today.
Haunting the post office again today, girls?
Same as you.
Oh, I don't need to be here. I know I did well enough to get in, but Moody wouldn't come on his own.
Not here yet?
No.
Oh, that's it. I'm going home. No, I'm going to my uncle's in Halifax. He said he'd take me as an apprentice for a carpenter. That sounds so much easier than being a minister.
Moody?
My parents are already ashamed of me, and I know I didn't do well.
Moody!
I might as well just go now.
Now stop it. You're a very smart boy, and you know that.
Sure you are, Moody.
Well...
Remember when you helped me study geometry?
Well,
I probably wouldn't have passed if you hadn't helped me. You're a very good teacher, Moody, and I'm sure you'll make a very good minister, too.
Well...
And besides, you owe it to Miss Stacy. She's helped us so much getting ready for the entrance.
Buck up, Moody. You'll pass just fine. I'm going to check.
You know, Jimmy Glover and Ned Wright have a bet on it.
On what?
Who will win?
What? Oh.
I told Ned it was a waste of his money. There's no doubt in the world that Gilbert can beat Anne.
Oh, Josie.
Anne! Diana! Oh, she's got the paper!
Oh, Anne, you passed first. Well, you and Gilbert both, but your name's first. Oh, I'm so proud.
Look at that.
Anne, Gilbert,
where am I? Wait,
Father brought the train up from the river. Father brought the paper from the train at Bright River. It won't be here until tomorrow by mail. But you've passed, every one of you. Won't Miss Stacy be delighted? Oh, Anne, how does it feel to have your name at the top of the pass list?
I never thought I could. Yes, I did, just once. Excuse me, Diana. I have to go find Matthew.
Anne, there they are. Matthew.
Marilla. What is it?
I passed, and I'm first, or at least one of the first. May I?
There, I always said it. I knew you could beat them all easy.
Well, we'd better be getting on. You've done pretty well.
Pretty well? Pretty well?
Come along.
Good job, Anne.
Congratulations.
So proud of you.
So well.
There is another, not a sister, in the happy days gone by. You'd have known her by the merriment that sparkled in her eye. Too innocent for coquetry, too fond for idle scorning. O friend, I fear the lightest heart makes sometimes heaviest mourning. Tell her the last night of my life, for ere the moon is risen, my body will be out of pain, my soul be out of prison. I dreamed I stood with her and saw the yellow sunlight shine on the vine-clad hills of Bingen, fair Bingen on the Rhine.
Bessie came with flying footsteps, eyes aglow with love light sweet, kneeled on the turf beside him, laid his pardon at his feet. In his brave, strong arms he clasped her, kissed her face upturned and white, whispered, "Darling, you have saved me. Curfew will not ring tonight."
Poor.
Oh, Diana.
Well, they did. All those American ladies with their jewels. I'm so proud of you, Anne. She was so wonderful, Marilla. All of White Sands Hotel was shouting for Anne. Go on, do the funny one.
No.
Please, Matthew would love it.
Not now, Diana. And I kept you here too long. Your mother's going to wonder where you are. I'll walk you home.
No, stay here. You're leaving tomorrow.
All right, I'll see you out.
You know it was Gilbert that got everyone shouting encore. What are you thinking?
Well, Gilbert's taking the first class degree too. I found that out today.
So you'll be in the same classes again?
Yes. It's funny. I don't know what I'd do without him there to battle. My friend, the enemy.
All right. Well, I suppose I better go. I can't believe you're really going, though.
Oh, Diana, don't start. You'll just get me going too. I'll be on the train every week. No, go on now.
All right. Goodbye, Anne.
Good night. I declare, my recitation has made you cry. Now that is something to be proud of.
No, it's just, I was wishing for a moment you could be a little Anne. Even with all your odd ways back then. You've gotten to be so big and stylish, as if you didn't belong in Avonlea at all.
Marilla.
Oh, it's all right. I'm better now.
Marilla, I'm still your little Anne, and I always will be, no matter how different I may look.
Next stop, Carmody.
Just 10 more minutes.
I'm so glad to get home. Oh, me too.
Homesick for pokey old Avonlea.
Oh, Josie, just stop it. I've lost 7 pounds in the last 2 weeks studying for finals.
Yes, this has been so much harder than I thought.
Are you ready, Anne?
I think so, yes. I wish I had your confidence.
I wish I had your brain.
I don't really care. If I don't pass this year, I'll just come back next. My father can afford to send me.
Anne, are you writing an essay for the Avery Scholarship competition?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Good. My English professor said he was sure you could win it if you tried.
Professor Tremaine said Emily Clay would likely win the Avery Scholarship, and that Gilbert Blythe was sure to win the medal for first in class.
Oh, Josie.
Oh, Josie.
I'll win it if hard work can win it. Matthew would be so proud to see me go to Redmond for a bachelor's. You can do it, Anne. I know you can.
Yes.
Yes, but I think Marilla would.
Gilbert's awfully smart at.
Oh, Josie.
Oh, Josie.
Gil is pretty smart at English, though.
Evening, ladies.
Good evening, Gilbert.
Ruby, I was wondering if you might enjoy some company part of the way home.
Why, sure, Gil, that'd be nice.
Well, good. I'll see you when we pull in.
Well.
Well.
Third time Gilbert Blythe has carried your satchel home, Ruby.
Oh, Gil is sweet, but I really don't understand half the things he says.
Oh.
Frank Stockley has a lot more dash and go.
Ah.
But he isn't half as good looking as Gilbert.
Oh.
I really can't decide which one of them I like best.
Well, Ruby, you be sure to tell us when you figure it out.
It's only a few more minutes. I think I'm going to go sit with Gil for the rest of the way.
You know, I never really thought that Ruby was the sort of girl that Gilbert would like. She told me once that Gil talked just like Anne Shirley did when she had a thoughtful fit on.
Carmody! Station stop is Carmody.
In conclusion, then, I believe that each of us is possessed of somewhere. We want a sense of place, a place to call home. Perhaps those of us whom that need was not fulfilled until later in life feel it more keenly and cherish it more. I do not rightly know. I do know that I deeply cherish my home, my Canada, my beautiful Prince Edward Island, with the rich red of its winding roads, and the brilliant emerald of its uplands and meadows, and the glowing sapphire of its encircling sea. I know that my little town of Avonlea is the loveliest spot on this island, and that our homestead is the finest corner of that fine place. I have seen little of the world as yet, and I do not know whether I will ever see more. I do know where I belong. My name is Anne Shirley, and I am of Green Gables.
Then Dean Harcum came on and said, "Thank you, Anne. Miss Anne Shirley reading her essay for English composition."
Moody, that's perfect. That's old Harcum exactly.
Oh, Marilla, we were so sorry you two weren't feeling up to the trip. She was just splendid. Go on, Moody. Keep doing it like the dean.
Now, let me call up your classmate Gilbert Blythe. As I understand it, the two of you have been in competition for head of class for several years now. And I must say, this year's competition was the closest we've ever seen at Queen's Academy. And the winner of the gold medal for top of the class is Mr. Gilbert Blythe. But wait, if Mr. Blythe intends to continue this rivalry, he'll have to go to Nova Scotia next year, because the winner of the Avery Scholarship to Redmond College is Miss Anne Shirley.
Reckon you're glad we kept her?
It's not the first time I've been glad. You do know how to rub things in, Matthew Cuthbert. Are you good? Yeah. Okay. You can't hit you too hard.
her. She's just going to sit around while everyone else does the work.
It's her first day home, Rachel.
1 day. Marilla's making me. Starting tomorrow, I do all the chores until I leave for Redmond in September.
Well,
Rachel.
I'll have to tell you plain, Anne, I don't believe in the higher education of women.
Oh, Rachel.
Unfit for a woman's true sphere.
Well, maybe a woman's sphere is just broadening a little.
Thank you, Marilla.
And all the way to Nova Scotia.
Yes, Gilbert Blythe is going there too.
No, he isn't.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not. His father can't afford to send him. He's going to have to work a while to earn his way through.
No.
It's true, Anne.
Oh.
I didn't think you'd be so disappointed to see the back of him.
But nothing. Oh, there's Matthew. Wasn't there something you were going to tell him?
Oh, yes, about the Abbey Bank.
Oh, Rachel, I wouldn't. I passed on what you said yesterday about the bank, and he didn't want to hear it.
Well, he'd better hear this. Matthew!
Marilla?
Yes?
Marilla, is Matthew well?
No, he's had a few bad spells with his heart this spring, and he won't spare himself a mite. I was sorting he'd sort of rest and pick up now that you're home. And the Abbey Bank. All of the money we have is saved in there. I wanted him to move it to the savings bank, but he wouldn't hear it. Old Mr. Abbey was a great friend of Father's, and we've always banked with him.
You can't tell that man a thing for his own good.
I'll go out. Maybe after he's rested a bit.
Well, I wish her good luck.
Anne.
Matthew, you've been working too hard.
Oh.
Why won't you take things easier?
Well, now, I can't seem to. It's so much work to get done.
If you just let me do some...
No. I'm just getting old and keep forgetting it.
I could do the...
No. Now, I've always worked pretty hard, and I suppose I'd rather drop in harness.
If I had been the boy you said for so long ago, I could help you so much now. I wish I was. I wish I was.
Well, now, I don't. I'd rather have you than a dozen boys, Anne. Just mind you that, rather than a dozen boys.
Thank you, Matthew.
Well, I guess it wasn't a boy that won the Avery Scholarship now, was it? It was a girl. My girl that I'm proud of.
Rest now, just a little, for me.
All right, for you.
Your paper came. I put it in your room.
Matthew.
Any bank that Mr. Abbey runs is good enough for Green Gables.
There's just no talking to him.
I'll try to talk to him about it later. Just let him rest now.
Well, I wish you good luck.
She's got away with Matthew.
Oh, I'm sure she does.
She's well educated, you see. Besides, they're kindred spirits.
Oh no.
What, Matthew?
The bank.
Matthew! Matthew, what is it? Oh, my dear Lord. Matthew, please wake up.
Marilla.
I had run to town, get a doctor.
Marilla.
Matthew.
Anne. There's nothing we can do for him now.
No. Matthew.
Marilla, was that Mr. Sadler I passed on the lane?
Yes. I guess. I don't know. It's not that.
Are you very tired?
Yes.
You saw the eye specialist?
I saw him.
What did he say?
He said, if I give up reading and sewing altogether, and I wear these glasses he's given me, and I'm careful not to cry, then maybe my headaches will go away and my eyesight won't get any worse. But if I don't, I'll be stone blind in 6 months.
Oh,
Blind.
he has given you hope.
Not much. Not read, not sew. I might as well be dead as blind. And I can't much help crying.
I'll get you a cup of tea.
I'd be grateful. I'm about done out.
What did Mr. Sadler want?
Oh, he wants to buy Green Gables.
Buy Green Gables?
Oh, Anne, I think it'll be enough for me to live on. I'm glad you're provided for with that scholarship.
But you mustn't sell Green Gables.
I wish I didn't have to, but I can't live here alone.
Well, you won't have to. I'm not taking the scholarship.
What? What do you mean?
I'm not going to Redmond. I have it all planned out. Mr. Barry is going to rent the farm for next year, and I'm going to teach over at Carmody. I can drive myself there and back, and I'll try to keep you cheered up.
I don't think I ought to let you.
Well, you can't stop me. I'm 17 and a half, and obstinate as a mule, as you used to say. But we both love Green Gables so much, so we must keep it together.
I have to stick it out and make you go to college, but I know I can't, and I ain't going to try. Oh, Anne, I'll make it up to you somehow. I know when I took you when I was harsh and stern, rather, but you mustn't think I didn't love you as much as Matthew did for all that.
Well, of course I didn't.
Oh, Anne, ever since you came to Green Gables, I've thought of you as my own flesh and blood. You've been my joy and comfort.
Yes, and she said my hair looked redder than ever, or at least when I wore black, it looked redder.
Josie's a pie, so she can't help but being disagreeable. I can't see the use of them as much as I see the use of thistles.
So back to the Aid Society tomorrow?
Yes, back to normal. I suppose you'll be all right staying here by yourself. There's baking and ironing to do.
Oh, yes. Diana's coming over. I promised not to set her drunk or starch the handkerchiefs.
Gracious, what a girl you were. Cracking slates over boys' heads and half drowning in ponds.
Well...
So Gilbert's going to take the Avonlea school?
Yes.
He seems such a nice fellow. I saw him yesterday in church looking so tall and manly. He reminds me a lot of John at that age. John and I used to be good friends. People used to call him my beau. Thought that might get your attention.
Oh, Marilla, what happened? Why didn't you...
We had an argument, and I couldn't forgive him. When he asked me to, I thought I'd punish him a little, but then he left. The Blythes are mighty independent folk.
So you had a bit of romance in your life?
Yes, I suppose so. Though you wouldn't think so to look at me, would you?
Marilla!
Everyone had forgotten about me and John. I'd almost forgotten him about myself, until I saw Gilbert looking at you in church the other day.
Marilla, Anne.
Evening, Rachel.
Beautiful evening.
I declare I'm getting glad to sit down. It's a great blessing not to be fat, Marilla. I hope you appreciate it.
I reckon I do.
Town's pretty evenly divided, I'd say, on Anne turning back the scholarship.
You're keeping track, are you?
A lot of them think it's pretty foolish. I must say, I'm just glad she's giving up this notion of going to college. You've got as much education now as a woman can be comfortable with.
Well, I'm going to take my arts course right here in Green Gables.
Oh, Anne Shirley, you'll kill yourself.
No, I won't. I'll have long winter evenings. And I'm going to teach over at Carmody, you know.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not. I guess you're going to teach right here in Avonlea. The trustees decided to give you the school.
But they promised it to Gilbert Blythe.
So they did. But Gilbert went and told them he withdrew his application and suggested they hire you. He said he was going to teach at Carmody.
Oh, Mrs. Lind.
He knew how much you wanted to stay with Marilla, and I must say it was real kind and thoughtful in him, that's what. So the trustees decided to take you.
Well, I don't think I ought to let him.
I guess you can't prevent him. He's pretty hard-headed, you know.
Well...
He's already signed the papers with Carmody.
Yes, but I don't think I ought to...
Oh, Anne, of course he'll take the school.
Well...
Why don't you talk it over with Gilbert?
What?
He's right over there waiting.
Rachel.
He had me come in first. Well, Marilla, seems I've had my rest and I'll be on my way home. Could you walk me to the gate?
Of course.
Gilbert, thank you so much for giving up the school for me. I want you to know that I really do appreciate it.
It wasn't really.
Wasn't really what?
All that good of me.
Gil.
I was pleased to be able to do something for you.
Yes.
Have you finally forgiven me? Are we going to be friends after this?
Oh, I forgave you a long time ago.
When?
That day at the pond. I just didn't tell you. I've been real sorry ever since.
Well, I guess we're going to be good friends after this then.
Yes.
We were born to be good friends, Anne.
I think so.
Seems you foiled our destiny quite long enough.
Yes.
You're going to keep up with your studies? So am I.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Maybe we could study together. Evenings?
Yes, and maybe mornings.
What?
Before school, at 7.
Yes. Mornings at 7.
What?
That old Robert Browning poem. Mornings at 7, the hillsides dew pearled.
Oh, yes.
Should we start tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, see you tomorrow then.
Mornings at 7.
What?
Mornings at 7, the hillsides dew pearled, God's in his heavens, all rights with the world.
It's become fashionable these days to say that Jesus is about a relationship, not religion. But we see in James that religion isn't all bad. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction and to keep oneself unstained from the world. This play of adoption and being brought into the family, just a picture, a small glimmer of what God has done for those that he adopts into his family and the love that he shows in a play that brings together those things, that pure and undefiled religion, but also the relationship of getting to know, the transformation of, we really wanted a boy, help out on the farm, but learning about this other person made in God's image, coming to love and care for her. So I hope this play blessed you. Congratulate one of the performers as you leave today. And if you have not yet picked up a poetry book, we have those in the back. Students have prepared poetry selections as we've gone through this season of the arts, and we have one per family available at the back door as you leave. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.